What happens to a planet after it has been ravaged by war? This question, heavy with the echoes of countless battles and the silent screams of entire civilizations, is one we've asked ourselves time and again. When the fires of conflict have been extinguished, the smoke cleared and the sounds of battle have faded into the infinite abyss of the cosmos, what's left is a planet in ruins, a testament to the destructive power of war. Once vibrant cities are reduced to ghost towns, their structures crumbling under the weight of their own desolation. The very land seems to weep, scarred by the onslaught of weapons of mass destruction. The air, once teeming with the exhilarating rush of life, now hangs heavy with the stench of death and destruction. The ecological balance, a delicate dance choreographed over millennia, is shattered, leaving in its wake a barren wasteland. Rivers run red, forests stand silent, and oceans boil under the relentless assault. The biodiversity, the very essence of a thriving planet, is decimated. Flora and fauna that once painted a vibrant tapestry of life are wiped out, their extinction a grim reminder of the cost of war. The human toll is unimaginable. Lives are lost, families are torn apart, and entire cultures are wiped out in the blink of an eye. The survivors, if any, are left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives in a world that bears little resemblance to the one they once knew. But amidst this bleak panorama there is hope. Because where there's life, there's hope. And where there's hope, there's possibility. The possibility of reconstruction, of healing, of a new beginning. The task of rebuilding a planet from the ashes of war is monumental, a Herculean endeavor that demands our collective will, resources and resolve. As we venture into the rest of our journey, we will explore the intricacies of this task, the strategies employed, the technologies utilized, and the human spirit that fuels this endeavor. The task of rebuilding after such devastation is monumental, but not impossible. The road to recovery is long and arduous, but with resilience, innovation, and a shared commitment to peace, we can rebuild. We can heal. We can rise. Where does one begin when faced with the task of rebuilding an entire planet? The first step, daunting as it may be, is to assess the damage. This is no small task. It involves surveying the extent of physical destruction, understanding the ecological impact, and accounting for the loss of life. Physical destruction is often the most visible sign of a war-torn planet. It's the crumbled buildings, the decimated cities, the ruined infrastructure. It's the roads that no longer exist, the bridges that have been reduced to rubble, and the power grids that have been rendered useless. This is the wreckage that needs to be cleared away before reconstruction can begin. But physical destruction is just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface, there's the ecological impact to consider. War can wreak havoc on a planet's environment, causing pollution, deforestation, and even altering the climate. These are not problems that can be easily or quickly fixed. They require careful study and planning to mitigate. And then, of course, there's the human toll. The loss of life is always the most tragic consequence of war. But it's not just about counting the dead. It's about understanding the impact on those who survived. It's about the displaced populations, the broken families, the psychological trauma. These are the wounds that are not visible, but they are no less real or painful. Assessing the damage is a complex and challenging task. It requires a multidisciplinary approach, bringing together experts from various fields, from engineers and architects to ecologists and psychologists. It's about looking at the big picture, understanding how all these different aspects intersect and affect one another. This process is not just about quantifying the damage, it's about understanding it. It's about grasping the full scale of the devastation, the breadth and depth of the impact. It's about acknowledging the pain and suffering, the loss and destruction. It's about coming to terms with the reality of the situation. Only after understanding the full extent of the damage can we begin to plan for reconstruction. The road to recovery is long and arduous, but it starts here with this first crucial step. With the assessment complete, the mammoth task of planning the reconstruction begins. What we're looking at here is not just rebuilding physical structures, but creating a framework that paves the way for a sustainable future. The first step in this process is resource allocation. Just as a chef needs to know how much of each ingredient they have before they can start cooking, planners need to take stock of what is available and what is needed. This might involve raw materials for building, technological resources for communication and transportation, and human resources for labor and expertise. It's a delicate balancing act, ensuring that each aspect of reconstruction gets its fair share of resources. Next on the agenda is setting priorities. Not all tasks can be tackled at once. Some need to be addressed immediately, while others can wait. For instance, ensuring basic necessities like shelter, food, and medical facilities usually takes precedence. Then comes rebuilding infrastructure, followed by long-term projects like education systems and cultural preservation. Prioritizing tasks is a complex process, influenced by a multitude of factors and requiring careful consideration. Involving different stakeholders is another crucial part of the planning process. This includes the local population, international aid organizations, and governments. Each has a unique perspective and a role to play in the reconstruction. Their input can provide valuable insights, help avoid potential pitfalls, and ensure the plan is inclusive and considerate of all needs. Lastly, contingency planning is essential. In a project of this magnitude, there are bound to be unforeseen challenges. Having a plan B, C, and even D can save valuable time and resources when things don't go as expected. It's about being prepared for the worst while striving for the best. In essence, planning for reconstruction is like putting together a complex puzzle. Each piece, whether it's resource allocation, task prioritization, stakeholder involvement, or contingency planning, plays a critical role. When they all come together, they form a comprehensive plan, a roadmap leading the way to a brighter future. A well-thought-out plan forms the backbone of any successful reconstruction effort. Planning is just the beginning. The real challenge lies in the implementation. Once the ravages of war have been assessed and a framework for reconstruction has been drawn, it's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work. Implementing a reconstruction plan is no small task. It demands not just resources, but also coordination, management, and a steadfast resolve to restore what has been lost. The first step in the implementation process is mobilizing the resources. These could be physical resources like building materials and machinery, or human resources, those who will be doing the actual work of rebuilding. This mobilization is a Herculean task in itself, requiring careful management and organization to ensure that everything is in place and ready to go. Next comes the execution of the plan. This is where the blueprint for reconstruction is transformed from a theoretical concept into a tangible reality. The execution phase is characterized by construction and rehabilitation. Buildings are erected, infrastructure is restored, and life slowly begins to return to the devastated areas. Yet, as with any monumental task, challenges are bound to arise. There may be shortages of resources or delays due to unforeseen circumstances. There may be logistical issues or difficulties in coordinating the many moving parts of the operation. Each of these challenges must be met with determination and innovative problem-solving. The key to overcoming these hurdles lies in flexibility and adaptability. A successful implementation is one that can adapt to changing circumstances, that can think on its feet and find solutions to problems as they arise. This is where the true character of those involved in the reconstruction shines through. Their ability to persevere in the face of adversity, to remain committed to their goal, despite the obstacles that stand in their way. And so the implementation phase pushes forward, undeterred by the challenges it faces. Buildings rise from the ashes, cities are reborn, and bit by bit the scars of war begin to fade. While the path to reconstruction is fraught with challenges, with perseverance it can be achieved. In the age of advanced technology, the task of reconstruction has become less daunting. Consider the aftermath of a catastrophic war. The landscape is riddled with debris, infrastructure has crumbled, and the once thriving ecosystem appears lifeless. Yet it's in these moments of devastation that technology steps in as an essential tool in the process of reconstruction. Let's break it down. First, there's debris removal. It's not just about hauling away the remnants of destruction, it's about doing it safely and efficiently. This is where technologies like remote-controlled drones and robotic systems come into play. They can navigate dangerous areas, identify valuable materials for recycling, and clear the way for rebuilding efforts. Next, we have the rebuilding of infrastructure. Once the debris is cleared, it's time to lay the foundations for new structures. Advanced construction technologies, such as 3D printing and modular construction, can drastically reduce the time and resources needed for this stage. Imagine entire buildings being printed layer by layer or prefabricated sections assembled like a puzzle. Speed and precision become the new norm. And then there's the restoration of the ecosystem. This is a delicate process, one that requires a fine balance between human intervention and natural recovery. Here, technology lends a hand through bioengineering and environmental monitoring systems. These can help reintroduce native species, monitor the health of the ecosystem, and ensure its sustainable recovery. But technology's role doesn't stop there. It's also instrumental in coordinating these efforts, in gathering and analyzing data, and in keeping everyone involved connected and informed. From satellite imagery to AI-powered analytics, from communication networks to virtual reality simulations, technology is the invisible thread that ties the entire reconstruction process together. Yet, as we marvel at these technological wonders, it's important to remember that they are merely tools guided by human hands and human hearts. The true measure of reconstruction isn't just in the buildings that rise or the landscapes that bloom, but in the lives that are restored and the communities that thrive once again. Technology, when used wisely, can greatly expedite the process of reconstruction. Beyond the physical reconstruction, there's another important aspect to consider: the human element. As we delve into the sixth scene, let's shift our focus from the tangible to the intangible, from the physical to the psychological, from the visible ruins to the invisible wounds. In the aftermath of a war, survivors are left with more than just physical scars. The trauma of war can leave deep psychological wounds that, if left untreated, can fester and become debilitating. While reconstructing infrastructure is undeniably crucial, an equally important aspect of post-war recovery is rehabilitating the survivors and helping them heal from the trauma they've endured. Consider the emotional turmoil of losing a home, a family member, or an entire way of life. Imagine the distress caused by living in constant fear and uncertainty. These experiences can lead to a range of mental health issues, including post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety. Rehabilitation efforts, therefore, must extend beyond physical healing. Mental health professionals play a vital role in these situations, providing therapy and counseling services to those affected. It's about helping survivors navigate their emotions, process their experiences, and eventually find a way to move forward. But healing is not just an individual process, it's a communal one as well. War can fracture communities, tearing apart the social fabric that once held people together. So part of the healing process involves rebuilding these social bonds. Community events, shared projects, and collective mourning can all contribute to this social healing. In this context, education also plays a pivotal role. The younger generation especially need to be educated about the horrors of war, not to instill fear but to foster understanding and compassion. This education can serve as a powerful tool for reconciliation and peace-building. Let's not forget, the strength of a society lies in the resilience of its people, and resilience can only be fostered when there's healing. Rebuilding infrastructure is important, but helping people heal and rebuild their lives is equally, if not more, crucial. Reconstruction is not an overnight process. It's a long road to recovery. Allow me to take you on a journey along this road from the dust of devastation to the dawn of a new era. In the initial days following the cessation of conflict, the primary focus is on assessing the damage. This is the period of shock and grief, a time of reckoning with the scale of destruction. It's the first mile of our journey, a painful but necessary step towards recovery. As weeks turn into months, the framework for reconstruction begins to take shape. This is the planning stage, where the blueprint for a new beginning is drafted. It's the second mile, where hope starts to flicker amidst the ruins. The next phase takes us a few months into the journey. This is the implementation stage, where plans are transformed into reality. It's the third mile, a time of hard work and persistence, where the seeds of recovery are sown. A year or so down the road, we reach the fourth mile. This is where technology starts to play a significant role. Machines and AI systems are deployed to expedite the reconstruction process. It's an exciting phase, where the future begins to take shape amidst the remnants of the past. The fifth mile, a couple of years into the journey, is where the human element comes into focus. This is the stage of rehabilitation and healing, where communities are rebuilt and lives are restored. It's a poignant phase characterized by resilience and the indomitable spirit of survival. Finally, after several years, we reach the end of the road. The devastated planet has been transformed, rising from the ashes like a phoenix. It's a time of celebration, but also of reflection. A moment to remember the long and arduous journey that led to this point. The road to recovery is long and arduous, but with determination and resilience, it's a journey worth taking, a testament to the power of hope, the strength of the human spirit, and the inexorable march of progress. While we have the capability to rebuild, wouldn't it be better if we didn't have to? This question brings us to the final scene of our discussion, the importance of peace and the lessons we should learn from the devastation caused by war. The destruction of war is not just about the physical infrastructure, it's about the lives lost, the communities shattered, the history erased. It's about the trauma that survivors carry with them long after the last bullet is fired. The impact of war is deep, widespread, and long-lasting. We've seen it time and again. The aftermath of war leaves planets in ruins, forcing us to devote enormous resources to reconstruction and recovery. The process is long and painstaking, requiring not just the rebuilding of cities, but also the rehabilitation of societies and the healing of individuals. But what if we could avoid all this? What if we could prevent the devastation in the first place? The answer lies in the pursuit of peace. It's a word we hear often, but what does it really mean? Peace is more than just the absence of war. It's about justice, equality, and respect for human rights. It's about resolving conflicts through dialogue and negotiation, rather than violence and aggression. It's about building societies where everyone has a fair chance to thrive. Learning from our history, we see that the most successful reconstructions have been those where peace was not just an end goal, but a guiding principle. These are the societies that have managed to turn the ruins of war into the foundations of a brighter future. So, let's take a moment to reflect on the lessons we've learned. Let's remember the costs of war and the importance of peace. Let's strive to build societies that are resilient, not just in the face of destruction, but in preventing it in the first place. Reconstruction is possible, but prevention is better. Let us learn from our past and strive for a peaceful future. It's a challenge that we all share and a goal that's worth fighting for, not with weapons, but with wisdom, compassion, and a steadfast commitment to peace. Rebuilding a planet from the ashes of war is a monumental task, but not an impossible one. As we've journeyed through the process, we've seen the aftermath of destruction, the first steps in assessing the damage, and the creation of a framework for reconstruction. We've witnessed the implementation of plans, turning ambitious blueprints into tangible realities. We've delved into the role of technology, an invaluable ally in the fight to rebuild, and we've explored the human element, the process of rehabilitation and healing that is just as crucial as any physical reconstruction. We've traced the road to recovery, a timeline marked by both setbacks and victories. But perhaps most importantly, we've learned from the past, understanding the true cost of conflict and the priceless value of peace. With determination, resilience, and a focus on both physical and psychological healing, we can rebuild and recover. But let's strive for a future where such reconstruction isn't necessary.